Matt here for Toolbox Talks. Today we're discussing setting up and using warning line as a fall protection system on the roof. To set up the warning line, get cones and bases on the roof and then build a small loop of cones with warning line. When connecting cones with the warning line, pull the warning line through the middle and then over the top. Do it twice for each cone. Once you're safely inside of the closed loop of warning line, you can expand with more cones, being careful to keep a closed loop as you expand to prevent someone from accidentally leaving the warning line. Load the extra materials inside the warning line so you don't need to leave the fall protection to get your supplies. Here's some requirements for the warning line setup. Make your warning line tight and straight on the cones so it stays between the 34-inch minimum and 39-inch maximum above the working surface. Use 2 cone bases on the corners, or if it's especially windy, on the rest of the cones to maintain a straight line. The warning line must be at least 6 feet away from the leading edge or hazards. Or better yet, 10 feet away so you don't need to worry about equipment moving under its own power. On the warning line, there must be high visibility flags or markers at least every 6 feet. For example, this warning line needs to be replaced. Also, yellow caution tape or red danger tape cannot be used as a substitute for warning line. Parapet walls 39 inches or higher can be used as part of your warning line system. Start at least 10 feet away from the parapet wall where the wall is lower than 39 inches, and then make sure the cones go all the way to the wall so there's no gap to escape. Remember that as we build up the roof system, such as adding insulation, we may need to move the warning line as we lose parapet wall height. Roof access is an important part of the warning line. If you have a ladder, it will need to be closed off by warning line so a worker can't accidentally fall off without making contact with warning line. The easiest way is to make a gate out of the warning line. Make sure you close the gate every time you go in or out. If you're only working on a small section of the roof, setting up warning line for the entire area may be unnecessary. So use an access corridor made out of warning line to get from the access point or ladder to the working area. Holes that are 2 inches in the least dimension or larger, think of this as anything larger than a tennis ball, need to be covered or protected even though you don't fit through that hole. Weak sections of the roof are also hazards that need to be covered or protected by warning line the same 10 feet away from the hazard. Skylights present a particular hazard for us as it's easy to dismiss the threat. A simple solution would be to use warning line around the skylight, though the best solution is probably to use a skylight net if you can get one out to the job site. Please make sure it has all of the hardware properly installed so that it does its job if it ever gets tested. This leads us to controlled access zones. Before we open decking, such as replacing a rooftop unit or even pulling a small fan to wrap a curb, a controlled access zone will need to be set up to keep others away from the hazard. Crew members working outside the controlled access zone can support the crew inside. Crew members inside the controlled access zone will need to have their personal fall protection systems in place. Setting up warning line correctly can seem like a lot of work. However, if it is done correctly, it decreases our risk and allows us to work without our personal fall protection system, speeding up production and most importantly, keeping us safe and headed home at night. Thanks, and keep up the good work.